So here's the thing. For those of you racists that supported the racists and are now realizing that your leader, although they may be racist, powers trumps their racism. Racism is just a resource they use to patronize you, racists, so they can keep you agreeable on what they are doing to the people that you hate. But again, power supersedes their racism. Division is a tool that is now becoming a symptom to all of you powerless racists that are and will come to be collateral damage. You will become collateral damage in their war against humanity. They just want to run this and rule over man, white woman, any and all shades of the color wheel. Their money and your ignorance has funded their campaign for centuries. So here's a fact, a Black history fact during this fine month, a reflection of our 24/7, 365 ever escalation of excellence. Black folks are not folding through this mess. Since living under the colonization of the undesirables, to whom some call their forefathers, we have been in the mess. And come 2040, we would have superseded as minority commodity, proving that we don't die, we multiply. Okay, all right, I know. That is no way to start a show. I will start over, and I'll be right back. Well, hello, and happy Saturday to you all. Happy Black History Month to you all. The 8th day as we reflect and celebrate Black excellence. Hurrah, hurrah. So glad to be with you on this beautiful, fine Saturday. We've had some beautiful weather. Up until now, it's a little breezy. Still not cold, just a little breeze. It's like warm wind. But I'm loving it because, I could even put on an open toe. So I like that. And you don't have to wear a big old coat at night. But yeah, it was projected to get a little cooler from Thursday on into the weekend. So I haven't been outside yet, but I will be soon because yes, I'm turning up tonight, y'all. Yeah. It's gonna be lit. But anyways, I hope you guys are all enjoying your day. Thank you guys for chilling with your girl. I know you could be anywhere on a beautiful Saturday and you're chilling with me live, so I appreciate it. Please get in the chat, share your thoughts, add to the conversation. I want to hear your perspective as well. I'm here because, I got to vent a little bit, but I do want to share some knowledge and information with you too. But I do want to hear from you. That's why I pull up live, y'all. That's why I pull up live. Let me say hey to the chat. Shout out to, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Somebody didn't beat you to the punch. Oh my goodness. Number 2, shout out to Genuinely Poised, who's in the chat first today. Hey, happy Saturday, Miss Toya. Thank you. Happy Saturday, Queen. Thank you so much for joining our show. I appreciate it. And GB, listen, no love lost. Listen, yes, and showing up is on time, period. Late is better than never. I'm here. Yeah, you always here, and I appreciate that. So thank y'all for pulling up. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, it's a lot going on, y'all. Listen, if you're on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button. If you like the show, hit the like button. If you think other people should check it out, you can also share Facebook or YouTube. I appreciate you for it. But yeah, y'all, it's a lot going on. It's lit, ain't it? So we're not gonna just get into all that, all the stuff that's going on, because there's a lot of distractions to keep us distracted, and there's too much good going on in the world as well for us to just get sunk in. But you know how your girl do. We're gonna talk about it, right? We're gonna get into what we need to get into. So let me go ahead and sip my tea for a second here. Oh yeah, I got to share my. Let me go ahead and share this while I'm here too, and so the folks know that we out here, we out here, we in these streets. Let's see, I'm sharing this to my group right now as we speak. It has been sent. All right, okay. All right, we ready to go now. Okay, so yeah. All right, so I know a lot of you guys about to get involved with this Super Bowl, right? Nobody's taking a knee anymore. We boycotting Target and I don't know some other stores, but we not boycotting the Super Bowl. I get it. I get it. I get it. We got short attention spans. We in here for a moment, not a movement. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I'm being passive aggressive or whatnot, but y'all feel me though. Y'all feel me. Y'all know what it is. You know, I'm not telling any lies, right? Remember, we a lot of us were against, the Super Bowl. We boycotted the Super Bowl because of the way they were treating Kaepernick, who, you know, sacrificed his livelihood, his love of professional football, to speak out against police brutality. Okay, he paid a price for that. Luckily he's not suffering from, at least from what I know and understand. There was a time he was donating hundreds of thousands to nonprofits. I don't know if he's still doing that or able to do that, but you know what I'm saying. Time has passed, and now we on to our next victim. Okay. Yeah, they deserve it though. I'm not against anybody withholding a dollar. So again, that's just me being petty and passive aggressive around here. But anyway, it's Super Bowl 59, right? The Philadelphia Eagles versus Kansas City Chiefs. In New Orleans, that's gonna be lit, right? Um, who y'all got? Who y'all got? Who y'all working with? Listen, I never had a favorite team. I gravitated towards the 49ers when I met Rice, who was playing at the time. I was a young lady, young girl working um, on the strip. And one of the boys next to me was about to he was about to spaz out. He was about to spaz out. He was like, "Oh my god!" And Jerry Rice was present with his wife and kids at the time, and I didn't know who he was. And I'm like, why are you acting like that? And he was like, that's Jerry Rice, and I was like, oh. So then I just picked that team just because, okay, all right, I met somebody famous on an NFL team. But then later on, my baby cousin, rest in heaven, passed away at the age of 18. But I always remember him talking about Donovan McNabb, Donovan McNabb. Everything came out of his mouth was Donovan McNabb. And so, and then of course my son, who was a fan at the time, I think he switched teams since, or maybe he's not into football as much anymore, because I asked him, in recent years, how he felt about the Eagles. And he was like, oh, they cool. But I thought that was his team, because I bought him the comfort and everything when he was an adolescent. Or what do they call them when you're in junior high school? Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so I know it's gonna be fun and exciting. But you say you going shout out to Jenny Poise, who says I'm going for the Kendrick and the SZA. Listen, I'm gonna watch the clip on YouTube later. I'm not gonna give them any TV play. Now I will say that I do partake in the festivities. Like I tell you guys, I'm a team player. I'm not really a big holiday person. The biggest holiday I celebrate is maybe birthdays. But if you having an event, or you're having some type of thing you like me to participate in, I'm a team player. I'm there for the people. Like I said, my presence is the present. And I think that's my love language. I'm trying to, simmer it down to what my love language is. And I think my love language is just time. I like to spend time with people and just share and build memories. So, I'll still pull up to a Super Bowl party, but I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. I haven't really decided. I get real comfortable being home and not having to go anywhere, but I might. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? I'm always on the fence about things. I'm a Libra. We kind of, indecisive about everything. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. But yeah, so yeah, but then I never knew, because again, I don't really pay attention to the Super Bowl like that. So I guess after the whole George Floyd atrocity, everybody was doing everything, right? That's when DEI came into effect, and companies were more sensitive to Black issues and were patronizing us and catering to us. But they would put on the end zone, the end line. Y'all help me out here. I told you I don't watch football. But anyways, on the football field, they used to have there, as of late, it was in racism. And so now they removed that, and now it says choose love. How do y'all feel about that? Like I said, they put that up during the George Floyd era, or moment, I call that. And then now that the y'all's president, the first president to ever attend a Super Bowl, NFL Super Bowl event, will be present. ironically, coincidentally, they switched up the verbiage. And so choose love. I'm not mad at it. Do choose love. I think love is a beautiful thing. Hanny Lou Famer had a famous quote, referencing love and hate. And, she explained, how hate can be damaging, period. So, yeah, why not choose love? But what you did also is you took away the main thing with the fabric of the country is what it was built on, and that was racism. Racism is actually a commodity. We don't want to talk about this. Maybe people don't want to hear me talk about this. Maybe they think I'm being a race peddler or whatnot, but it is the commodity here. They've used racism to build this country physically and mentally. They've used racism. They've used racism to keep the divide. They use racism to make money. It's a reality. But Fannie Lou Hamer said, hate won't only destroy us, it will destroy these people that are hating us. So right now, you heard the term laugh now and cry later. Yeah, they can laugh now, but they'll be crying later because hate destroys you from within. It's going to break down your body. You know what I'm saying? They think they can live forever, but they can't. And then the hate is so strong that they don't even love God enough to respect the things that he put on this planet for us to be able to live and sustain humanity. And so they're destroying that. So their hatred and their disdain for the goodwill of all people and their love of power not only will destroy the good people such as ourselves, but it's going to destroy them as well. Tick tock, tick tock. The clock is ticking. But anyway, so that's what's going on. The Super Bowl Sunday. Did y'all watch the Grammys? Oh, I didn't watch the Grammys. Listen, back in the day, when I was a kid, that was the thing. Like, I grew up in an era where we didn't have DVRs. We couldn't pre-record things. Basically, we had to pull up when it was time, right? We had to pull up when the show was actually airing. And so, it was always exciting. It was an event when the awards came on, especially like the BET Awards and the Grammys, because you got to see some of your famous entertainers all dressed nice, live and in color, speaking live, seeing them. We don't get this interaction that we get now because we have social media. We have so much access to a lot of our entertainers, people we're fans of. But back in the day, yeah, it was on time. I showed up. I pulled up on time for these events, but I haven't really been into the Grammys. And I will say, I don't know if I'm becoming an old head. I don't think that's the case. I just think I'm disinterested. I'm not impressed. Like, I'm not hard to please, but I'm just not easily impressed by what they're pushing out there. I know there's a lot of great entertainers. Some of them we just don't get to see. And so a lot of them that come to the forefront really don't meet the standard of the Aretha Franklins, of the Whitney Houstons, of the Luther Vandrosses, of all of the greats. Like, you can distinguish their voices as soon as they open their mouths compared to a lot of the artists today. I'm like, who is that? That sounds like so-and-so. Everybody sounds the same, from the sound, the instrumental sound, to the actual voice. So, I haven't watched the Grammys, but I don't know if you guys did. So hopefully some of your favorite people won. But what got me interested was after the Grammys, I guess, they have a lot of after Grammy shows, right? And so after the Grammys, Janelle Monáe was at an event that also was attended by Nelly. And you guys know Nelly performed for y'all's president during the inauguration and went on and added insult to injury, might I say, saying that it was an honor just to perform. It was an honor to perform. Like, insert, it was an honor to perform for races. Insert, it was an honor to perform for a person who's got this, the world turned, this country turned upside down, and the world's coming next. Got kids not wanting to go to school because they're afraid they're going to be deported. Innocent, not law-abiding citizens. And then let me tell y'all something. Usually, we have gardeners up and down the street, including my neighbor that had the Trump sign, come on, taxes. This ain't no billionaire street. But anyway, I ain't seen the gardeners. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That grass started getting tall. I might call it HOA. I'm just playing. I don't even do that. But anyway, yeah. So Janelle Monáe was at this event. And like I said, company also there, along with, I'm sure, a host of other people. The room looked pretty crowded. I was looking at the video. But anyway, it was a live band there, and somebody started playing "It's Getting Hot in Here." That's Nelly's song, which I used to like. But now, look, I'm mad at everybody. The whole family, the baby, everybody. I know that ain't right. I said everybody. Everybody can get it now. Nelly, you done messed up for everybody. But So she started performing and she freestyled a song to Getting Hot in Here, but she was dissing him. She was dissing him, and they showed him on camera, and his mouth got tight, jaws got tight. And I was like, okay, but I haven't heard anything else. If he responded from that, or if Janelle Monáe added anything extra to it, or what other people thought about that. But I'm glad she did that. Make him feel embarrassed. And I heard somebody say, I can't remember who it was that. Oh, dude, the dude that hosts TMZ, they were talking about somebody. I can't recall exactly what the conversation was, but it had to do with some lame racist stuff, right? And his thing was, that's the problem with Democrats. They always shaming people, and I'm just thinking about, what the hell? What you, shaming people for their decisions? This ain't that type of party, y'all. If you look out your window, you can see what's going on all around you. Our democracy is being stolen in front of our very eyes. We are watching this, okay? But anyways, yeah. So shame him and let him know, no, we don't appreciate you. And it's an honor to dish your ass after the Grammys. Shout out to Janelle Monáe. Yes, I'm petty, okay? Shout out to GB, who's adding to the conversation, who says the use of God is also a tool. Religion goes hand in hand with politics. Child, yeah. So you got racism as a commodity, and then they use the God and Christianity for sure. But we know their God is not our God. Okay, they even changed the color of God and his eye color, and then they try to hide all of their wicked ways behind Christianity, and they got people drinking the Kool-Aid. Shout out to Jim Jones, and you know they falling for it. And you know what? I used to think people was just that dumb. Sometimes I still do think there are some. There really are some really dumb people in this world, but a lot of these people that hide behind religion, when we talk about women's reproductive rights and things of that nature, like if you really love God and you really understand the word of God, then you're not judging. That is not your job. You're just a human being. You are not God. But instead, you use that and allow people to rule over our bodies, and you use religion for that. But then if you lick your finger and start going through all the pages of the Bible, I'm gonna need you to put that pork away. I'm gonna need you to love your neighbor. I'm gonna need you. It's a lot. It's a lot. Let's just do the 10 Commandments. So that's the one thing that you drill down on, and that's your determining factor that changes the lives of the whole country. And that's just the start, because this is some Handmaid's Tales type shit that we got going on, y'all. And I'm gonna get into that too. But this is where it started. And the playbook is so, it's like, if you watch something like Handmaid's Tale, if you watch a documentary about the rise of Hitler, if you just paid attention to history, they have not deviated from the script. They haven't, it's nothing new. There's nothing new to what they're doing. They've stayed with their plan. They didn't get mad when their leader didn't win 4 years ago. They came back, brought their ball back, and they entered the game again. And guess what? They got what they wanted, whether they cheated, whatever. We were so-called defeated, and it's costing us our freedoms. It's costing us our peace of mind in some instances, and a whole lot more. So yeah, they're using God as a commodity as well. And they're getting away with it because people are so foolish. They're so foolish and misled. And I'm definitely going to get into that. Thank you for even raising that topic, because I want to get into that. But yeah, so the Grammys. And then, speaking of Nelly, his wife Ashanti, shout out to her, who paid her respects to the late Irv Gotti. Can y'all believe that? This is a musical mogul who, listen, I was in a club dancing to many of his songs, and very talented. He did what he did. I can't say who he was as a man, good or bad, just on a music perspective. He ain't got no charges or nothing public about him touching girls or beating people. So as far as I know, yeah, you want to claim you was with somebody, that's your business. People lie on the coop, as they do, or they tell the truth, and other people just don't confirm or deny. I don't know. But anyways, he passed away at the age of 54 to a long, fight with diabetes. And I'm assuming it was type 2, after listening to a clip from an interview he did with Drink Champs in 2023, just talking about the fact he had lost a lot of weight. Recent pictures show him with weight loss, and it was a healthy weight loss, but particularly on the Drink Champs in 2023, he looked sick. He looked like a healthy weight loss. But he had said that he had been battling diabetes for some time prior, and that his kids were really, really on him. And for him to eat healthier, to stop drinking and smoking weed. And he joked about it, saying the disease. I kind of think he was saying something about being a black disease or whatnot, and the sugars and da da da. Um, but he did lose the weight. He did tell people that they need to exercise and change their diet. But he was insistent that he had to live. Like this is, that I guess all of the changes you have to make to live comfortably. Basically, I remember him saying in the clip that he was saying that, everything that you like to eat that tastes good to you, you cannot eat if you're diabetic. And I beg to differ because I've learned to you know, what is it, improvise, just to reduce the amount of sugar. Anything white that you put into your body is a carb that, um, transfers to a sugar. So like white bread, white rice, potatoes, things of that nature. So knowing that and knowing that I get sugar from other things, I try to balance my sugar intake because one soda pop is more sugar than you should have in a day. And I think it's like on average, like 30 plus grams of sugar in one can of soda and in most juices that we buy off the shelf. Um, and so, mashed cauliflower. I've learned a recipe where you add a little cream cheese, a little garlic butter, just same thing, you whip it up. But you do a taste test and you make there's ways to improvise where you can still get those things that you enjoy. If you're gonna eat the fries, maybe not cook them in grease, put them in the air fryer. There are alternatives. We don't have to look at it as such a negative thing to eat healthy because there's a lot of delicious foods that you can eat that taste good and that are healthy for you. And, you won't be getting all that extra sugar and saturated fat and the things that cause diabetes. But type 2 diabetes is reversible, which he did mention. Exercise and changing your diet would benefit. But some of the side effects of it is heart disease, strokes, heart attacks. Some people, you get your arteries get clogged, you get poor circulation, you end up getting things amputated. When the arteries clog up, that's how you end up with strokes. That's the last thing we want to have, right? So we got to really, think about our lives. A lot of us use that hookah. I say hookah, but I'm gonna try to say it right. Hookah. That hookah is that's like smoking a pack of cigarettes. When and people do that at their leisure. I know some people just do it occasionally, but I would strongly encourage to stay away from that because that just shoots up your blood pressure. Whew, I tried that once. I remember being on vacation, just having a little fun, and was scheduled for my regular checkup when I returned. And my blood pressure is always normal, if not lower than normal. But that particular time, my blood pressure was not as normal, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?" And I remembered that hookah, and so that's all I needed to hear. So yeah, he succumbed to his death. But shout out to Ashanti. She had a very nice message that she left for him um, on her Instagram. Quote, "I can't believe things ended like this, and it makes me so sad." She said, "We weren't on the best of terms the past few years, but as I've always said, through our ups and downs, I will forever be grateful that what you've done for me, for everything that you've done for me." She went on to say, "We made history and that will remain infinite. I've always respected your musical genius and ability to push me to be my best. All the greatness and positive things that came far outweigh the dark and negative times. I have always prayed for you to find peace, sending love and prayer to the entire family. Rest well, rest in heaven, peace, Irv." And that's just a moment of silence for a man who has now become one of our ancestors as well. So shout out to Ashanti. That was very classy. And that's the thing about it. We think we won't feel a way when we are estranged from people, and then when we see curtains closed, like lights out, no more opportunity to say what we really feel or how we really feel. And there's absolutely no opportunity to exchange that. You feel differently. And I try to remind myself of that when I'm estranged from people. But sometimes, even just in retrospect, just thinking about her situation, sometimes it's just you can't get around to that. It's just not the time. The energy isn't there, and we're not God, so we never know if we'll have that opportunity. But she said her piece still, and I respect that. But again, y'all, it's Black History Month. So shout out to Las Vegas. If you're in the Las Vegas area, the Springs Reserve. I don't know what year this is. They've been doing this for over 10 years, over 12 years. I can't remember when it started at the Springs Reserve. They have a Black History Festival every Black History Month. This year is February 15th. from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Springs Preserve. The admission is it's free parking too, but the admission is $9.95 for adults. That's 18 and over, and ages 3 to 17 it's $4.95, and if you're a member, it's cheaper, $8 and $4. And then you have to RSVP, meaning you need to buy the ticket before you go. So you can't just walk up and buy your ticket. We know how we are, Black folks. Black History Month, they're gonna make you do something that you're not used to doing as a Black person, and that is buy your ticket in advance for the last minute people anyway. So shout out to the Springs Preserve for the Black History Festival. I've been several times. I'm very proud of it. I enjoy it. I'm so glad they have it to celebrate us, and I hope they just keep on keeping on, because I love and appreciate them for just recognizing us. Um, and you see so much great talent. Like, there's a lot of entertainment. It's a good time, and it's like a family reunion because you see people you haven't seen in a while. It's great. You even see our local representatives there. So want to get out, and it looks like it's going to be nice too. So go out and patronize the vendors and just have a good time. Spend a day outside getting some vitamin D, some fresh air, and just embracing where we are today, because it's still a good thing. We've come a long way and we have so much further to go, even though people are trying to send us back. We ain't going back. Okay. So let's get into a little Black history. One thing I'd always want to just recognize all the greats. So we'll just kind of highlight a few, representing those on this day, some historical things that happened for Black men and women on this day, February 8th. In 1944, reporter Harry S. McAlpin became the first Black accredited to attend a White House press conference. And then in 1968, actor Gary Coleman was born. Y'all remember what you talking about, Willis? Y'all remember? Gary Coleman, he was cool. I watched Different Strokes too. I love that. That was a wholesome show. I just love it. Times are so different now. We don't get that same energy from our TV shows that we got back then. But Different Strokes, that was a good look. In 1978, Leon Spinks defeated Muhammad Ali for the heavyweight title. How many of y'all remember that? It's 1978. I know a lot of us got the replay, right? Yeah, I was little. In 1986, Oprah Winfrey's television show premiered across the country. The famed entrepreneur became the first African-American woman to host a nationally syndicated talk show. And listen, I still love Oprah. People can say what they want and you can have your opinions. None of us are perfect, right? But she definitely was one of the first women to give me, help me understand that I could do anything and be anything I wanted to. I had a lot of interest in writing and journalism and things of that nature. So she was that example. That's why Black faces are so important, especially, to us Black folks, because, they suppressed a lot of that. We didn't get to see us a lot on television. Times are changing, but this is why we have so many Black things to celebrate us, because we need that for our self-esteem. We need to know that not only we know we have the capability, we know we have the talent, but even furthermore, we can actually do it. Why? Because we've seen other people do it. And so this is so important to celebrate us. And shout out to all of you who are not Black who celebrate us. Much love to y'all as well. Yeah. And there it is. All right. Whew. Let's see. Y'all, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot. What's up with the bird flu? Y'all still buying eggs? Like, why don't we just stop buying eggs? I mean, I know we think we need eggs. A lot of us bake. We go to these restaurants now, the prices are up on eggs. But there's a book that's called As a Man Thinketh, and there's also one called As a Woman Thinketh. But in the book As a Man Thinketh, it says, don't hate the oppressor, hate the oppressed. And I interpret that to mean that you can't be mad, you can't be mad at the person who's trying to hold you down when you're allowing them to hold you down. So yeah, eggs, are beneficial. I love my eggs in the morning. I bake with them. But do we really need eggs if they're going to charge us what they're charging us? The difference between a moment and a movement is sacrifice. Sometimes we just might have to do that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. And we just have to be willing and able to do it. And so don't hate the oppressor, hate the oppressed if you want to hate somebody. But yeah, so eggs are still high. We don't know what the deal is with the bird flu. I guess based on the prices, we just going to assume that it's because the bird flu is still going around, because we know we're not getting access to that information anymore. And like I told you guys before this man became president, like one of my greatest concerns was that, we're going to fall into another pandemic and a lot of lives are going to be, lost because of this regime. And I'm very uneasy about that. And I want us to talk about being prepared. We need to have our bodies physically prepared. We can't fall into a lot of the scare tactics and a lot of conspiracy theories. Just go back to what we know, go back to the basics, go back to what our ancestors taught us to help maintain our health. And then we've done everything we can do from that point. We know we all got to go. As long as we be leaving wood a pound a dose. So until the day we expire and turn to vapors, me and my capers, I'll be somewhere stacking many pay. That's life's a bitch, and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Y'all feel my vibe? Woo, it's gonna be lit, y'all. It's gonna be lit. Shout out to Nas. Anyway, so Bill Gates has even predicted and says that science, what he didn't, but he was on a View talking his whatever. I'm mad at him too. But Bill Gates, he was on The View, and he said that science predicts that there's a 19% chance of a pandemic in the next 4 years. Okay, that made my heart sink. And he's certain that he said he's certain there'll be one in the next 25 years. Okay, so y'all, we got to be prepared. We have to be preppers. We need to, at the least just have, our basic needs, stored away, walkie talkies for sure. We can't rely on our cell phones and this Wi-Fi, because that's going to go away. That's why I'm not quick to go get another car. I've had my same car since 2018. I love it. It's great. But, I can afford something else, and I would like something else, especially before I retire. Nice, something real nice, luxurious. But I don't like all this electric stuff. I'm not with that, because I don't feel like we're going to be living in that time. And I feel like when we put ourselves at the mercy, for lack of a better term, of the powers that be, when they can just turn our shit off and turn it on. And that's, shout out to the power company. But your car, nah, I can't be driving and you just click my stuff off. And so I'm just not with it. I understand the environmental aspect of it, but I don't trust the people who hold the power. And that's the problem. So I'm kind of falling back, waiting for things to hit the fan, and seeing what happens next before I go out and purchase these new vehicles where they're, all this electric stuff. So get you a walkie-talkie, like I said, keep your health up. Have a location where you and your family can meet in the event of an incident. There's so many other things, and we'll get into that as well. But I just wanted to bring that up because, pandemics, how many of us besides, we could talk about Ebola and, the other thing with anthrax, they're trying to call those pandemics, but really, even though it did spread globally, which is what a pandemic is in comparison to an epidemic, because an epidemic is more isolated, where it's just maybe in one country or two, but not globally. Even though it did expand globally, some of these things like Ebola, whatnot, very few people died. Like very few people died, less than 100. Not to say that doesn't matter, but we lost millions, hundreds of millions of people due to COVID. And if that's something we can expect to happen again, that is scary. And that's super scary. HIV/AIDS was the closest we got to a pandemic. And that's still around, but at least we have things in place now to help people live longer. You don't necessarily have to die from it. If you get your checks, get tested regularly. If you are positive, there's medication, you can live with it. And so that's a good thing. So yeah, the NIH is that's the National Institution of Biotechnology. They say evidence shows that deadly pandemics have been happening more often in recent decades. It says that the deadly pandemics, there was a 5 out of 12 of the deadly pandemics occurred in the 20th century, and the other 2 were in the 21st century. The last 4 pandemics occurred almost 15 years on average. So the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, that's the CDC, which we're not privy to information at this time under the new regime, y'all's president, has estimated that 6 out of every 10 known infectious diseases that affect people can spread from animals, and 3 out of 4 new of emerging infectious diseases come from animals to humans. So that's something to be looking out for. Y'all, everything that was in Project 2025 is rolling out under this new regime. The majority of the cabinet members are authors of this Project 2025. Y'all's president said he didn't know nothing about it and insisted that he had a Project 2027. The devil is a master of deception and confusion, the author of confusion. And please believe he is a liar in chief. And, we got to be ready, right? If we stay ready, we ain't got to get ready. Shout out to Sugar Free. If we stay ready, I ain't even gonna try to sing. Y'all don't even want that. Shout out to Chrissy. Thank you for joining me. Hey, on YouTube. What's up? All right. yeah, you guys. So we got to be prepared. We DEI is a whole thing. We got a whole lot of distractions going on, and it's getting so bad now. We know that a lot of these companies were bullied. Some of them maybe they were just ready to drop it because they were just doing it in order to, you know, patronize us per se. But many of them, I think, are honestly being bullied, by the new regime, y'all's president, to dismantle DEI programs. So, even with grant y'all, even with grant proposals, because they don't want black people to be able to say grants for black women, grants for black men, grants for single families, grants for black boys, grants for black girls, teenage black boys, blah blah blah. They don't want you to be able to drill in on a particular group of people, particular demographics, unless it's a white man to be particular. But yes, y'all's president, ma'am. It's y'all's president. Okay, I don't claim him. Look, but yeah. So they're going so far as to say you need to take certain verbiage out of these grant proposals in order to qualify. Before I even get into this, I just need you guys to understand that all of these changes that they're doing to prevent money from moving, to prevent people from getting money, having access to money, having access to benefits, it's our money. This ain't y'all's president's money. It's not coming from his bank account. I don't even think he can have a bank account in the United States because of his 6 bankruptcies. Okay. I think he has to go overseas somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But this is our money. They're making decisions on who we can give our money to and telling us if we use certain verbiage in these proposals to get money or to promote distributing money, then we can't get our tax dollars. That's what I need you guys to understand here. Like, who really? Y'all don't get me to cussing anyway. But like I said, Joe Madison would tell you, the late great Joe Madison. Sometimes you got to be profane to be profound. Let me get my Wendy Williams on my tea. But in speaking on this DEI, there's a whole list of new names that are being omitted from proposals to get grants and loans, or they can get them denied at least. So every federal agency in the US is currently trying to figure out how to purge forbidding words from the documents posted online in a desperate attempt to comply with the y'all's president's executive order to purge DEI from every facet of American life. And nowhere in that effort more bizarre than the National Science Foundation. So even the National Science Foundation, which is currently combing through websites and research papers for a long list of words that include female, disability, LGBT, because I think they took the Q and the T out. I know the T for sure, which stands for transgender. Women. If women is in your proposal for a grant that is considered DEI, men is okay. Women, other terms, there's a whole list. I mean, there's many: activism, activist, advocacy, barriers, bias toward, biopic, Black and Latinx, community diversity, community equity, cultural differences, cultural heritage, cultural responsibility, disabilities. Now, I'm not surprised because this man who had a nephew, which means his brother, if I'm not mistaken, this was his brother's son, who had a disability and was, coming to y'all's president for money back in the day because, it's hard to maintain the health and the life of the person who had the particular disabilities. Again, I believe it was his nephew, and y'all's president was quoted to his relative and said, "Why don't y'all just let him die?" He don't care about none of y'all. He don't care. They use racism to keep y'all focused on what they're doing. They keep y'all focused on that and not what they're doing. Culturally responsive, diverse communities, diverse group, equity, ethnicity, females, fostering inclusivity. The list is long. Gender. You can't use gender. You can't use the term. You can't use the 2 words hate speech. You can't use Hispanic minority. You can't use historically. Implicit bias. Implicit bias is inclusion, inclusive, increased diversity, inequitable, Oh my goodness, minority, privileges, sexual preferences, status, stereotypes, trauma. You can't use so many words. Y'all, it's a lot. It's a lot. And you know, yeah, it's a lot. And I need to know, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about this? But like I said, he's doing a lot. He's got a lot going on. He's saying a lot. He's keeping us distracted, always throwing something at the wall, seeing what sticks. And every time you look up, somebody's talking about it. You turn on the TV. Oh, he said this. Scrolling on social media. Oh, he said this. He said that. He said this. He said he's doing this. He's doing that. Gaza. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, we got to pay attention to what's going on. But more than pay attention, what are we going to do about it? What are we doing to stop him? We got Democrats pulling up to the Department of Education and being told by a brown shirt, yes, a man with a brown shirt on, go do the history on a brown shirt, refusing the Congress entry. Mind you, a man who has no political affiliation, no appointing, I don't know what his role is. He was hired by y'all's president, but Elon Musk can go in and gather up all our social security numbers. So I understand they made a point to say that, yeah, they were refused, but that's it. So y'all just get refused and then you just tuck your tail and go back home. Like, nah, I need y'all to be a little bit more proactive. Y'all need to be pulling up with police, whoever, and kicking the door in. Literally, I'm serious. Like, if you're telling me, it just reminds me of January 6th, when I was minding my business and drinking my water, celebrating the change in the presidents, and you saw people crawling up walls like roaches, kicking in doors, shitting on people's property inside of the Capitol. Police died. It was something I had never seen before. And right then and there, I told myself, we don't have any protection. We don't have any protection. And even having this conversation, I remember just talking to my cousin saying the same thing. We don't have any protection. We cannot count on our United States government to protect us because they can't even protect their own selves. Okay. So, and I was telling her this and she was like, oh no, we good. We got the military. Everybody ain't gonna do this. Everybody ain't gonna, bow down to him. That's what they're doing. They won't even, they don't even got the muscle to say hell to the no, and get up in the building. Instead, y'all crying on TV. And I'm not trying to be funny. Shout out to Jasmine Crockett. It's good to protest. I'm not mad about that. I'm glad that you're president. You're letting us see how it's going. But I need y'all to be proactive. Y'all knew he was going to do all of this. Matter of fact, he told you. Y'all read the whole 900 and some pages of Project 2025. Y'all knew what his playbook was. And y'all knew that he was about that life because he tried very hard the first time. And now he has more experience and he has his yes men lined up properly. The prior people, they incarcerated because they said no after a while. It was yeah. Then it was no. What song was that? Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so now, don't come here telling me, oh, y'all can get in, because that scares me even more. So you telling me next thing you know, they're gonna be walking us to Guantanamo Bay and all y'all gonna be doing is out there protesting, telling y'all got y'all attorneys on it. That's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for me. Y'all know what y'all can do, and y'all not doing enough. Like, listen, I'm sorry. Like, there are no rules. So what are y'all playing by? All that nice stuff. That's what y'all were being, people were mad about as Democrats. Y'all were just being too nice, trying to play by the rules. Every time you get to the goal, they move the goal line back further. You can never Destiny's Child. No. Thank you, Christy. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, every time you get to that point, we know that as Black people, they move the goalposts even further back. So we know what the deal is, but y'all still want to play by the same game. The definition of insanity, and I say this in a controversy, is conflicting, this term. They say that it ain't really what it is, but I'm going to use this quote for the sake of this conversation. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to get the same results. See, I ain't even cuss. I'm going to sit my tape. Let me get my Wendy Williams on. So why are y'all still doing the same thing? I understand y'all can't just be out there being violent per se, but y'all can do more. Y'all can do more. Y'all need to be on TV every day, like y'all own press conferences. Yeah, homeboy not even letting y'all in the press conference room. He letting listen, Some of you TikTokers, you social media gurus, y'all might be able to get into these White House um, press conferences over people who's had 20, 30 plus years of journalism experience. But trust me, they're vetting. You got to be on their side. And I need to say this. If y'all go back and look at the documentaries on the rise of Hitler, you will see that was the first thing. Mind you, Hitler was freaking elected. Okay, let's start there. The motherfucker was elected, and then once he got into election, the first thing he went after was the media. He went after journalists. Don't y'all see what's happening? Are you not paying attention? Is you listening? Is you finished or is you done? You can't be finished or done. You still here. We got to still keep going. Our ancestors didn't come this far for us to just come this far. Okay. Shout out to Marmac, who's in the chat. Thank you for joining me on YouTube. He said the Democrats need to rebrand as a party. They're too soft. Thank you. Soft as a baby's ass. I'm over it. Like, I was Team Democrat because I needed them to win so that we wouldn't have this problem. I'm not wedded to any party, okay? If the other party would have supported the bulk of my interests, it would have been Republican. Remember, Black people weren't always majority Democrat. They were Republican until they were not, because their interests changed. In politics, there's no permanent friends or permanent enemies, just permanent interests. So it ain't about the party per se, but the party that can pull us up out of this ain't doing nothing. And I just take it all the way back to how, if you look at the votes, y'all got to pay attention to the votes as well. How they're voting, all these people that this y'all's president is appointing in, how people are voting. Pay attention. Y'all got to be petty. Y'all got to be 50 Cent petty. Y'all got to be y'all's president petty. Taking names, whooping ass and taking numbers, or however it go, but taking names and writing them down and remembering that and telling your people, when we vote in midterms, this the person that we need to be fighting to make sure this person don't get back into office because they too damn soft. They too soft. They don't deserve to be here. We fighting for our democracy and they standing in front of the doors crying. Elon got his punk ass in there and y'all telling me, oh, they won't let us in? Who was they? And what about let? What's the opposite of let? Okay. I'm just saying. So we got a whole patriarchy going on here. We got, for those who may not understand what a patriarchy is, it's a social organization marked by the supremacy of the father in the clan or family. It's the legal dependence of wives and children. This is what they're trying to do right now. Okay, it's not even about us anymore per se, except that they need to keep us as peasants. They need to keep us quiet, and they'll keep people on our neck that are racist. These low level races that they don't have no power except to be racist and to look down at us and treat us a certain way because they so-called people who they think they people are in power, but they power supersedes you. They don't give a damn about you, and they've proven that less than 3 weeks into the new regime. Okay. So yeah, it's a legal dependence of wives and children. That's what a patriarchy is. And the reckoning of descent and inheritance in the male line. So all they care about is the white male. It is a hypothetical social system in which the father or a male elder has absolute authority over the family group and one or more men. Okay. So a lot of y'all don't like Muslims because y'all be thinking, oh, they try to run over women, they try to rule over, in some countries, women are just now getting the opportunity to drive a car. Well, this is going to be worse. Okay, this is going to be worse. And they are moving fast, and y'all sitting over here keying and telling me y'all can't get into a building. Okay. What in the Handmaid's Tale is going on, y'all? And if y'all haven't seen the Handmaid's Tale, I strongly encourage y'all to go and watch the Handmaid's Tale or read the book. The book was written in 1985. The Handmaid's Tale, I think, is still being published on Hulu. It's still airing on Hulu, streaming, I should say. And just to give you an idea, if you guys don't know, Project 2020, it's a playbook of Project 2025. Okay, Handmaid's Tale is a futuristic dystopian novel. Dystopian meaning very bad or an unfair society novel. It was written by a Canadian author, mind you, published in 1985. And I call it the tale of Project 2025. So it's very, listen, it had my attention. It's depressing to some degree, but it's a playbook. It is written out as to what has to come. And, I'm going to say listener discretion advised, but I want to play Ply's take on how we're responding to what this y'all's new president is doing right now, and not talking enough about what we need to be doing, which we're going to get into more in this conversation on this show, In Your Ear Radio. Again, I'm your host, Latoya, and thank y'all for being in the chat and sharing your thoughts on Facebook and YouTube. I appreciate y'all. Hit the like and share button. So listener discretion is advised, because man cusses a lot. But like I said, as Joe Madison taught me, sometimes you got to be profane to be profound. So let me get this going here.
Motherfucking Dems. Yes, motherfucking Democrat. Is y'all really this motherfucking slow? Or y'all just acting slow? Because I'm starting to think y'all really this motherfucking slow. This man sent out a motherfucking tweet every morning as his motherfucking itinerary for the day. And y'all run around and talk about what the fuck he want to talk about all motherfucking day. When y'all gonna start talking about what the fuck y'all want to talk about? When y'all gonna start talking about the shit that he don't want to talk about? Like all these motherfucking planes falling all out the motherfucking sky. Like the motherfucking bird flu. Like the motherfucking 10% tariff China just motherfucking put on us because he was motherfucking bluffing. He say something about buying motherfucking Gaza. Y'all fly y'all like, oh, did you hear what he said about buying? Who gives a fuck? Start talking about shit you want to talk about. He say something about gutting public education. Y'all fly y'all motherfucking ass over there. One motherfucking man standing at that motherfucking door. 106 motherfucking pounds. You can look in his eyes and know he ain't never had a fight in his motherfucking life. It's 50 y'all. Y'all don't do a motherfucking thing. I bet you one motherfucking thing. They ain't stop at that motherfucking door on January 6th. I bet you that. If y'all ain't gonna be about what y'all talking about, just sit y'all motherfucking ass down somewhere. Please. Y'all need to get it, be a part of his motherfucking cabinet if you just finna run around and just talk about what he want to motherfucking talk about. You being motherfucking trolled, man.
You being trolled.
Him and his motherfucking pop, they're trolling you. Let me be the first motherfucker to tell you. The troll boys. First citizen. That man know goddamn well 98% of this shit he wake up every morning and say, he just saying it to have you slow motherfuckers running around chasing something so nobody ain't paying attention to what the fuck he ain't doing.
That part.
It ain't no motherfucking way y'all just motherfucking slow. For real.
Slow bus. Yeah. You know, it's amazing. I feel the same way. Like, y'all, you can't be that slow. We can't be this slow. What in the Handmaid's Tale? What are we going to do besides talk about this? What are we going to do? I mean, we definitely got to protect ourselves and be prepared. But are we trying to stop this? Are we seriously trying to be the glitch in the matrix? Do y'all understand what's going on here? I mean, even when I watch The Handmaid's Tale, to me, a lot of TV is propaganda. It tells you a story that has happened or that's about to happen. When we look at things that we used to watch back in the day, even cartoons like the Jetsons, introduced us to a future, So we're watching TV and we're watching movies. A lot of times it's telling us about what has happened or what's about to happen. So The Handmaid's Tale was, again, written in 1985, telling us what was about to happen. So again, as I've said in other shows, that, sometimes it was written. Shout out to Nas. It was written. Hoo-dee-hoo. Yes, baby. Yes. Okay, that's what's up. So it was written. But we can be the glitch in the matrix. I mean, you think about movies like The Terminator. You think about ways in which they also showed how we can infiltrate and stop this. There's a way to stop this, even if, by the birth of a child, maybe, you know what I'm saying? By just different ways and different things. And we're going to get into it. But again, this is an introduction to me to Handmaid's Tales to mentally prepare us for what we can expect, what these white men are thinking and what they want to do. Like in The Handmaid's Tale, they shot the lead person. I forgot what they called him, some general, but he was a top guy. So he would probably be up there with the president. And his wife just went before an all-male council and just asked that the women, the women of the clique of the president, whatever they call that, would be able to read. That's all she wanted. We just want to be able to read. So they had stopped them from being able to read. That's happening right now. They don't want us reading shit. They don't want us having access to history and knowledge and information. They want us to be dumb. So for those who are slow, you're gonna get slower. They're gonna start calling you screwed. Screwed. It's gonna be slow motion like this because y'all so damn stupid. Slow as hell. So they're introducing us to these things, and it just takes me back to you know, history when if you guys remember the president Woodrow Wilson in the movie Birth of a Nation. It was a movie that it was adopted from a 1905 novel and play. It was called The Klansman, turned into a movie again called The Birth of a Nation. Woodrow Wilson in 1915 invited some of the white men into the White House to watch this premiere of The Birth of a Nation. Again, a book written from the play, book from the book of the Klansman. He brought them to the White House to watch this. This is post Civil War, so they've been on. They have not deviated from their plan. And this again was an instructional video. You know, some of it called it was called the Birth of a Nation, not to be confused with the latest one. I forget the author. My cousin was in it. Shout out to Latoya. The Birth of a Nation. I can't think of the author right now, the director, producer of it. But anyway, black man. So it was called this particular one that came out in 1915 that premiered at the White House by President Woodrow Wilson. Is it starting to sound real familiar? Is it starting to sound real 2025-ish to y'all? I'm just saying.com. Okay. So it was called the most controversial film ever made in the United States, as well as the most reprehensibly racist film in Hollywood history. The film has been denounced for its racist depiction of African Americans. So this film portrayed black characters, and many of whom played by white actors. Because again, you couldn't even act as a black man. You couldn't even be yourself. A lot of these Western movies y'all watch, these white women and men got brown makeup on and they're dressed as Native Americans. How insulting, right? Like we don't have Native Americans here. I guess, I don't know, some of them they can't really, like you think about Cleopatra, Elizabeth Taylor. But anyway, they did blackface because they didn't even want black men and women acting, and I wouldn't be in that movie anyway as a black person. But so they portrayed us as being what? Unintelligent, sexually aggressive. Remember, this is some of the things they prohibited weed for no other reason. Well, I'll say one of the main reasons that the propaganda was that it made white women back in the day, it made white women loose and more into black men. Okay. That's why they prohibited weed, and really with weed, you think about the hippies. Have you ever met a racist hippie? You know what I'm saying? Like they more, in tune with the world as it really is. But anyway, so they said they were sexually aggressive towards women. They said that white women, I'm sorry, in particular, and the Ku Klux Klan was a hate group that they were portrayed in the movie as a heroic force that protected white women and maintained white supremacy. So in the movie, you see the KKK coming in on their white horse. You know the story to the white horse. You want that man, your white knight in shining armor arrives on that white horse to save you from that horrible black man who wants you. All these fine ass black women, boy, bye. But I'm just saying that's what happened. Okay. And it just makes me think of that. Like, just so y'all know, we're living in the same times. We look a little different. They ain't have what you call this boss lady lip bar lipstick in 1905, but I bet you they had something similar to it. Maybe they weren't wearing hoop earrings and braids, bamboo earrings, sucking on a lollipop at the bus stop. Anyway, shout out to LL too. But yeah, so goodness gracious, this is what we living under. And then y'all, I'm reading the Earthseed edition. This is the author Octavia Butler. I told you guys I was reading the Parable of the Sower. I finished that, and now I'm reading the Parable of the Talents. And I told y'all the Parable of the Sower, which was written I think back in 1998, was using terms. The president's name was it was Donner, not Donald, President Donner. But there were fires in California. It was like, think about Walking Dead without the zombies. It was just, destruction. Everything had burnt down and people had started building walls around their communities to save themselves, because now people, it was lawless, right? You didn't have any protection, no laws. Like, we working on that right now in 2025, but it was lawless to the point that people had to have their guns. You got to keep your hand on your gun because they got you on a run. They had their guns. They had to grow their own food. They had to trust each other. They still had their religion, but they walled themselves in, protecting themselves against thieves and rapists. So people weren't just coming in and stealing food, which could be understandable if you're hungry, but then you coming in and you raping and slaughtering the women and children. You know what I'm saying? Savages. We have the same issue here. We have the same issue going on every continent right now, where people are at war and they come in. This includes U.S. soldiers, I'm sorry to say. They come into these countries in war, and they can get away with whatever they want. It's lawless. Not only are they there to take away the men and jail the men, but in some instances, they're raping the women and children and taking whatever they want from them. You know what I'm saying? So it's still happening right now. But this book is so revealing. And mind you, the things that she's talking about in this book are things that are happening right now. And how would she know? I'm not that far into the Parable of the Talent, which is a sequel. It's only 2 books. So she was planning additional novels in this Earthseed edition, including Parable of the Teacher, Parable of Chaos, and the Parable of Clay. But she passed away, or maybe before then. She did admit that she had writer's block, because the sequel, the 3rd book, was going to be Parable of the Talents after the Parable of, not Parable of the Talents, but there was one more book after then, Parable of the Trickster. The irony of it. So you got the Parable of the Sword, and you got the Parable of the Talents, is what I'm reading now. And in this book, she's already quoting the president saying, "Make it America great again." I need to remind y'all, this book was written in 1998. There's a whole history behind that term, "Make America Great Again." And then you can further understand who y'all's president is just by doing the knowledge on that. Because some of y'all act slow. Y'all act real slow. Y'all need to read. That's why y'all slow. Y'all need to go read, or tell your people to read, because then you can understand why we feel the way we feel and we say the things we say, because we know what we're up against. We hear the dog whistles. We see the trickery going on here. We see it. Our eyes are wide open. We never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death. Okay. I ain't the type of sister for you to start dissing. Shout out to Nas. It's gonna be lit tonight, y'all. It's gonna be lit. So yeah, so I'm reading that, and I encourage you guys to read it. Very good read. Just talks about, and then now we're going back to we're in 2032 now. I'm saying back because I feel like they're gonna go further in the future than 2032, but we're talking about what's happening in 2032. And like I told you, I love futuristic movies, so I can get a perspective on what's to come, what to expect, the demographics, how we're going to be living, technology, blah, blah, blah. So that's the Parable of the Sword. And so if you guys aren't familiar with that term, it's also a Bible term. So again, in the Parable of the Sword, the book edition, it's they use the Earthseed edition. And Earthseed is actually a religion per se. Not associated with Jesus or any man or any biblical person, I'm trying to think, prophet or anything like that. But it speaks to humanity and just being a do-gooder and ways, and wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom in some of it. But so it's familiar. If you're not familiar, keep rapping. You like my rap? Look, don't make me freestyle. I got my own lyrics too. Don't make me come out with my own lyrics, because I got my own homegrown stuff. It's from the 1990s, but look, it's still relative. Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, so it's relatable. It's the Parable of the Sword. If you guys is familiar, it's similar to the Bible version. If so, you're familiar with the Bible, it's also the Parable of the Sword, or also called a parable of solace. It is a parable of Jesus in the Bible, and it's found in Matthew 13:1 through 23, and Mark chapters 4, verses 1 through 20, and also in Luke chapter 8, verses 4 through 15. But the parable of the sword in the Bible was told to the crowd gathered around Jesus. Okay, so Jesus tells this story of the sower who scattered seeds on 4 different soil types. Remember, I said her series is called Earthseed. So I'm just tying this together because I think it's so magnificent. But anyway, this is just my little thing. But you might find it interesting. So check it out. But anyway, so the story that, was told, they said the people that gathered around Jesus was telling the story about, the seeds that were scattered around 4 different types of soils. So number one, The first type of ground was hard. And so when the seeds were spread around this type of ground, the seed could not sprout or grow at all and became snatched up instantly. So, Jesus tells a story about spreading seeds on hard ground. And that's a representation of having a hardened heart, per se. And then the second seed was spread on a type of ground that was stony. And that was for, they said the seeds were able to plant and begin to grow. However, it could not grow deep roots and withered in the sun. Deep roots are very, very important because even now, if you cut a tree down, I got some in the backyard. They still grow. Them roots sprouted like you end up having plumbing issues because they'll get up under your house and your house will start leaning back, leaning back, leaning back. Okay, anyway, so that was the second type. Okay, and then he mentioned the third type of ground that was thorny. So these seeds that were spread around a thorny soil. And again, the second seed represented the stony ground, represented faith and awareness in God. So this ground, the first seed was hard and hard, but the second ground was a stony ground that these people have faith and awareness in God, but show doubt and worry. So they had a stony ground. And then the third ground was a thorny ground. And so with this seed, it could plant and grow, but it could not compete with the number of thorns that overtook it. So these thorns, as we know, weeds will kill a whole garden, right? And so this third type of seed, it was representative of, the truth, but you have many idols and distractions in life and worries and riches and lust, which take over your mind and heart. And so it can't grow. So it had the ability to do what it do, but because the distractions, which is what we're dealing with now, right, with y'all's new regime, we're not able to even tend to our own gardens and maintain the things that we need to sustain ourselves. And then the fourth seed, again, talking about the Bible in comparison to the book Parable of the Sower by the author Octavia Butler, Jesus said the fourth ground was good soil. He said it was that allowed the seed to plant deep, grow strong, and produce fruit. And this is representative of a person having faith and trust. They heard and received the word of God and allowed it to take root and grow within their life. So this deep, y'all. It's deep. I encourage you guys that you go back and listen to this a little bit more and just let it soak in, just to get an understanding, because I'm going to do the same. I took notes, but it's so fruitful to me. I'm getting inspired by the words, just reading the book Parable of the Sower, because there's a lot of wisdom in some of the things she references in the great in the terminology she uses for the seed of the earth seed, and then comparing that to the Bible and the chapters of Matthew and Luke and what other one did I say? Mark. And so so just think about that when we, in the times that we're in now, if we plant this seed in a heart of faith and trust, when we not only have faith and trust, but we hear the word, we understand what our goal is here. We understand what the mission is. We understand what is happening to us. We understand what they're trying to do to us, but we also understand the power that we have to change this. We can be the glitch in the matrix, is what I'm saying. So we have that. And so we can plant our seeds in that good soil, that soil built on faith and trust. But as you know, you still have to tend to it. So you have to have the heart to know and understand that you can do it, and then have the will to manifest and bring forth that good fruit. You know what I'm saying? So we can be the glitch in the matrix, y'all. And it's important that we know and understand that. We can't just talk about this and complain about this and say, oh, this is what it is and this is what it's going to be. Because I ain't trying to be in Guantanamo Bay. I'm not trying to be nobody's slave. I'm not trying to have any man rule over me. I don't want to have to walk around with my papers everywhere or escape this continent and leave my loved ones behind. I'm not trying to do all of these things that they're trying to get us to do so that they can just rule over us and oppress us and have power over us. These devils cannot rule. Their time is up. I think there's somewhere in the Bible that said that their time is up. So here's our opportunity to be the glitch in the matrix. We can do it. We have to just hold our nose and do what we can do. Voting is very, very important. It is. It's extremely important. But there's so many other things we can do and that we have to do. We got to come together. And I'm not just talking about Black people. I'm talking about all of us. If you are not white and rich, if you're not a billionaire, if you are not wedded to racism, if it ain't racism over everything, um, then you need to be over here with us, and we need to be sticking together and making decisions. And I'm going to tell you guys, because I know even for myself, it's like, well, what are people doing? There's a lot of stuff happening low key underground, because you can't be out here talking. If Harriet Tubman got on social media and told y'all what Underground Railroad was at, they would have never made it through the Underground Railroad. So we can't have that conversation, but we can have high level conversations here, because people need to know and understand that there are places we can go. There are resources. There are people who are working at our interests, and to our benefit. And these are people that don't need to do it too. These are people that can just pack up and leave and just be done. But humanity is important. The preservation of human life is important. And so those who don't understand that and want to sow their seeds, and produce brilliant fruit, will have trust and faith and the will to bring forth that. I'm like Sarah Connor in the Terminator. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember Sarah Connor? That movie was lit, y'all. When that came out, what was that, in the 80s? What year did that come out? 1984. And Sarah Connor, remember, he was going door to door to Terminator. I mean, he was cold with it. He was just taking them out, going door to door looking for Sarah Connor, because he had a mission. He had a mission to stop the child that would become the leader of human resistance from being born. Because what did that mean? That would mean that these androids, as we speak of them today, but technology, for lack of a better term, would not be able to rule and have the power over the people if Sarah Connor's son was born. Okay, so shout out to the Terminator, who, if you look at that metaphorically, this is who we have to be. We have to come in and stop them, because what they're saying is the future was already written. This is what is expected to happen. So when they ban our books and burn our books and tell us we can't read these books, they're stopping us from knowing and understanding what comes next. Because if you don't know what's in front of you, how can you prepare yourself? How can you be protected? How can you prevent things from happening? So that's why they real slick with it. You can't call them dumb. They know what the hell they doing. It's just we want to be asleep. Everybody want to take naps. You know what I'm saying? Get you some good rest. Wake the hell up and get to it. Get to it. We on a mission. We on a mission, y'all. We can't let them do this to us. So be a Sarah Connor. You know what I'm saying? I know it's Black History Month, but Sarah Connor was representing all of humanity, okay? And she gave birth to that boy to save all humanity, not just white women, not just white men, not just Asians, Latinas, Latinos, not just all of our ethnicities. She did that in order to save humanity. Okay. And again, it's a movie, but it's very metaphorical. And go watch it again and understand you have a position in this chess game as well. Again, we need to be the glitch in the matrix. Y'all didn't watch the Matrix? I was about to say the glitch in the Matrix. The glitch in the Matrix. The Matrix. That was it was set in the 22nd century, So we're still in the 21st century. The Matrix tells a story of a computer hacker who joins a group of underground insurgents fighting the vast and powerful computers who now rule the earth. Did y'all just hear what I said? The Matrix tells a story of a computer hacker who joins a group of underground insurgents fighting the vast and powerful computers who now rule the earth. We stay fighting. That's just what it is, y'all. This ain't heaven. This is earth. This is what it is. You not just here to just take trips and sips. Even though I'm about to take a sip. Let me get my Wendy Williams on. Okay. You know what I'm saying? We're here for more than that. We do need to leave a legacy. We do need to leave this world better than we came into it. We do need to have our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren in a position to be able to have the power they need to keep up with this fight until they enter heaven. That's just what it is, y'all. You can't be apathetic about that. It is what it is. Every animal on this planet is fighting to live. Y'all better go watch some wild movies and wilderness movies. But even in the Matrix, So you can be that glitch. You can switch it up. You can change things. Yeah, they got the power, but you do a little thing, hit on your TV like we used to do back in the day when the static came and then the picture came back perfect. That's what we got to do. We need to bang on our TV, put some foil on our antennas, and put this back on program how it's supposed to be, not how they got to do it, how they got it going on. Okay. Even in the Handmaid's Tale, one of the interesting things, there's a whole lot of good quotes. It's just so much good information. Just speaking to how they got to where they were. Because initially, even they went back in the Handmaid's Tale, they talked about how, initially the women were cool with, they had to get permission from their husbands to be on the pill. They have birth control. That wasn't a big deal, right? You wouldn't say we couldn't have it. We just had to have permission. So that meant you needed to be married. In this Project 2025, they're not only requiring that women be married, but that you cannot divorce. Listen, we've been alive. My grandmother lived during a time. She's 91. Ooh, she looked good. If I could look as good as my grandmother do, she dressed, listen, fine. You know what I'm saying? Fine. I had to text her last night and say, you are beautiful. If I could live as long as she had, considering everything that she's lived up to, um, that would be awesome. But even in her time, being a married woman, there were certain things she couldn't have. Even in this time, in the 70s, up until the 70s, she couldn't own a home under her own name. She had to have her husband's permission, put utilities and things in her name to get credit. So they trying to take us back there, and they doing it swiftly, swiftly. And mind you, it really is just to control white women because they need them back in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant, obedient. And then, of course, us, let's just lock us up in Guantanamo Bay or whatever. I don't know. But in the Handmaid's Tale, again, there were just so many different things they said, speaking to how this happened, because we were just watching this shit happen. I feel like most of us are just watching this happen. Okay, and let me tell you, um, we got to do more than watch. We got to be actively engaged, actively involved in our future, in saving ourselves. And again, it is saving democracy, because democracy means something. It means something. So the quote was, there wasn't even protesting on the street, just people watching television, watching what was going to happen next. Again, that's a quote from the Handmaid's Tale. Okay, listen. So that's what it was. So, we can't just be a glitch. I mean, we need to be a glitch in a major, but we can't just be sitting back watching and observing and complaining. For those of you guys that didn't get politically engaged, now I hope that you know and understand the importance of it, how necessary you are. Yes, there's all kind of tricks. It's gonna be tricks. People you play spades with, they be talking over the board. Do you stop playing spades? I'm just saying.com. Do you stop playing spades though? So they talking over the board, yes, but that doesn't mean that we still not on mission to win. And we know how important it is for us to win, because this isn't just your regular card game. This isn't something you do on a family night, with libations and laughter and cheer. This is serious. This will determine the plight of our well-being. This will determine our freedoms. This is very important, y'all. Y'all got to get off your asses and do something. Do something. Yeah, boycott these stores. Don't spend your money in places that don't respect you as a human. Yeah, do that, but you got to do more. So you need to go to the 5 calls apps and find out who your local representatives are and call them. Like I said, you got to be like, oh boy, I can't think his name from the wash. When he kept calling Dr. Dre, threatening him, you got to be like, you got to be like, oh boy, from the wash. That was Eminem though. He played the role. I mean, you got to, let them know how you feeling, and not just your local representative, all of them, whether they voted for or against your interests. Let them know, because that scares them, because your vote does matter. They add up. Okay. So call them, go to the 5 calls app, and you can get that information to know and understand who the representatives are statewide, and get on the phone and call them. I'm hearing that face to face is the best thing to do. You run into these people at city council meetings. They do have, if you sign up for certain, you join their email list, they'll send you invitations to different events that they're promoting, because they're trying to gather up their constituents, especially real soon when the 2 years from now, closer to the 2 year election season again, you'll start seeing a lot of them coming around. I wish yeah, those who are in these political positions now, from governors to councilmen, mayors, judges, senators, congressmen, women, all of y'all need to be communicating with the public daily. daily. We have a troll, shout out to Plies. We have a troll who's good at keeping communication open daily. How come y'all use a tool out of their playbook? It's working. Use a tool out of their playbook, ma'am, sir, and get on these internets, on these televisions. Use all that money that people donated to get you into office to speak out and tell people, give people marching orders, tell them what you need them to do. Okay, we might not be in a position, we can't go into the house and pass bills and write bills and shoot down bills. There's things we can do, but we need y'all to tell us what to do. You know, you know exactly, you know this constitution, you understand this whole political arena. Many of us don't, but I bet you if you explain it to us and give us marching orders, then we can share that with other people and we can get on board to save ourselves. Every day somebody with the interests of the people in mind should be speaking out. Okay, so that's what we can do, right? We can get on the phone and act like little Eminem from the Wash and just threaten the hell out of them. Yeah, not really threatened, but I'm just saying, let your voice be heard. Let them know that you don't like none of the things that they're doing, whatever it is, particularly specifically that you want to talk about. You can also make recommendations. For example, have the governor pass a temporary injunction for a rent moratorium. Make a demand to your governor to pass a temporary injunction for a rent moratorium. Rent is high, but he can actually put a moratorium in place to where you can't raise it anymore. Because soon as something happened, they raised it. That's what happened in California, right? You couldn't even get an Airbnb. They tripled the cost of moving into an Airbnb. It took advantage of people whose houses had burned to the ground, who had lost their loved ones, burnt in a fire. And then y'all charge them more when you still got to pay a mortgage on a burned down house. And now you want me to pay triple the cost because you think I'm rich? You devils, y'all some demons for real. Like money is your Lord and Savior, I see. So yeah, ask your governor to pass a temporary injunction for rent moratorium. The more of us who call the governor's office and request that, the higher the chances are that we can get some control over that. That's important to us, right? Contact the Senate and advise them they need to stop the freeze on housing vouchers. They have the ability to do that. Let them know. Leave them a message. Tell them they need to send an email. You see them in public. Hey, y'all need to stop the freeze on housing vouchers. People need a place to stay. We already got a high rate of homelessness. Rent is too high. People can't afford to work, eat, and pay high rent. Like they need some subsidies. And our tax dollars are put there for that. And some of these people who are benefiting from these subsidies pay into taxes as well. When you buy something, when it's taxed, whether you got a job or not, you are paying taxes. When you buy things, it's being taxed, except for food here in Nevada. And of course, protesting. And protesting ain't just marching in the streets. Protesting is calling your local representative or any of these representatives. So, and being out in the street, being in front of these buildings in masses, not in small numbers, in masses. So that's what scares them, all of these people. You know what I'm saying? That's what scared them. You see what happened in January? Anyway, I'm not going to compare that to this. But again, the Democrats need to do a daily press conference letting us know what's going on every day. If y'all's president can get on every day and tell y'all what he's doing, if he fires somebody, he even tell y'all what he firing people. He think this is an apprentice. He think this is a motherfucking apprentice. Okay? If he can get on every day and do it, how many members of Congress is it? How many members of the Senate is? How many mayors do we have? How many governors do we have? How many city councilmen do we have? How many judges do we have? How many dog catchers do we have? I don't know. But there's enough people that one person each day can get on and have a daily press conference to counter this fool. Troll us with marching orders. Troll us with action items. Troll us with what you're doing to help us get out of this, to be the glitch in this matrix. I need to know, how are you fighting? Again, I need instructions. What can be done? Let us know. Shout out to AOC. Shout out to Jasmine Crocker. Shout out to Elizabeth Warren. People like that. Let them be representatives for us and speak on what we can do, because their voices are strong. Elizabeth Warren, I love the way she breaks it down. You know, she's a good one to speak and give us marching orders as well. AOC, Jasmine Crocker, Elizabeth Warren, and there's so many more, right? And let's make a list of those who voted against impeachment. Remember, had the Senate prosecuted this man, we would not be dealing with this right now. So that's who I'm really, really mad at right now. Overall, I'm looking at these MFs side-eyed, and I'm pissed off about the fact that y'all let this go. Y'all are the reason why we are where we are. Because if y'all, he was twice impeached. He's got 34 felonies. Like he Barack Obama couldn't wear a tan suit. He couldn't even keep his preacher because his preacher had positive things to say about um, Farrakhan. But this man, name one thing he hasn't done. Just start naming things you think he haven't done because he's done so much, and he gets to be president. Y'all didn't prosecute him. Y'all wanted this to happen. We taking numbers and we kicking ass, okay? But overall, these are some other things you can do outside of that because no matter what happened, y'all, we still got to be here. We still got to live. We still got to thrive. We still got to survive because we got to get our next batch, next generation on. We got to keep this going. We got to keep going and passing the torch, as well as lightning. We got to keep it going. So I need you guys to eat properly, okay? Yeah, we gonna mess around sometimes, y'all. I know the struggle. I go through it too, and it's an up and down roller coaster. I love me some fat fries and my ranch and my ketchup, but I do know and understand that I don't want to have mental disabilities if I can avoid it. I don't want to have any heart issues or anything that's gonna disable me in any way. So if I can prevent it, that's what I'm working on. So try to eat properly. Take your vitamins, eat foods rich in vitamins. Just incorporate them into your meals. Cut back on drinking, cut back on smoking. 30 minutes a day, go for a walk, watch your favorite show, and just step in place. Just anything to keep the heart healthy, because 30 minutes of just getting that heart pumping actively benefits your heart. Plant a garden if you have the property to do so. I know even if you live in an apartment, sometime on your balcony you can get a little container and get you some soil and start planting stuff. You can plant vegetables and things like that, just a little something that prevents you from having to go to the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Or get a chicken coop. Listen, growing up, shout out to my TT dog, rest in heaven. I love and miss you so much, TT. And my granny, she had a garden, rest in heaven. We lived on, they lived on the west side. Okay, like in the city, but that was the west side, West Las Vegas, historic West Las Vegas, and they had chickens in the backyard. I never would eat breakfast at my TT's houses. I wasn't with eating eggs from the backyard because I was city-fied. They didn't know no better, but they come from the South. They knew what it was. They understood how to maintain and sustain without having to, granddaddy used to go hunting and bring back meat. My granny knew how to make preserves. We got to go back to that. We got to be self-sustainable. So for those who have properties and who can handle it, get you a chicken coop. You ain't got to pay for these damn eggs, okay? People have them. Like I said, my TT had chickens in her backyard, and some of us had eggs for breakfast. Okay. So plant a garden, plant a fruit tree. It may take up to 5 years to see, lemons, oranges, or whatever it is that you're planting, but you got time, right? The tree got time too. Do that so that you have at least that something to sustain you. You know, or something important when we talk about education. We understand, as a, growing up, if I had understood the importance of, you know, basically walking my child into a burning house as far as the educational system is concerned, because really, some people will say, would we allow the Nazis to educate our children? And it's kind of like what we did with putting our children in public education systems here in the United States, because these people were culturally conditioned to think of us in one way. And so they taught us in one way. And not only did they look and think of us in one way, but the educational system was put there to brainwash us, to look at black as being bad. Anything black was dark and eerie. Nothing could be black. Santa Claus was white. Jesus was white. White was associated with goodness. Black, the level of conditioning, the number that they did on our kids. We started off just the lies, Christopher Columbus saving, discovering the North America, just all of the things. So maybe we nominate an educator in our community to open up learning centers, maybe like on a Saturday, and make it mandatory that our kids attend it. Maybe it's different levels, but for an hour or two, so that our kids can get a counter to the educational system that they have. Plus, we don't know if this is going away, so we can be prepared. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know what I'm talking about? So that's just another thing we can do. Buy books, y'all. I am, I've always bought books, but now I'm really, really into buying books because, again, all this electronic, all this technology can go away just like that. We see who's in control, and they petty as hell. So they can wipe everything out. Like even your pictures and stuff, everything you have saved on your phone and your cameras, download it, print it, whatever you got to do. Buy hard copies of things, keep hard copies, buy books, because you won't have access to these things in the direction that things are going. Should we not meet a glitch in the matrix, you're going to be grateful that you have access to this. I think about the book of Eli, how significant and how valuable that book was. If y'all haven't seen that movie with Denzel Washington, the book of Eli, get a survival kit. And again, get your walkie talkies. There's survival stores everywhere. There might be farms in your neighborhood too, now that I think about it, where you can get fresh eggs and other vegetables and things of that nature, maybe even for a cheaper price. So consider that, y'all. Find out where your local farms are in your community and go there instead of these grocery stores. That's just another way to withhold your dollar. You know, sometimes it's going to be a little bit more, for work, but it's worth it. We're independent. We're self-sustainable. Our people did it with less. Our people did it with so much less. And look at us. Look at us. Look at what they produced. You see what I'm saying? So stop spending your money with businesses that don't support you. I get it. You know what I'm saying? These boycotts, they're kind of strange. Like I said, going back to Kaepernick, one minute we was putting our middle fingers up to the NFL, some of us, and now we, can't wait for tomorrow, right? But we don't have to spend our money with these people. Even with these tariffs, we know that the cost that he's putting on these foreign imports are going to be bled over to us. We understand that. But do we really need that dress from China? Shein? I don't know, wherever y'all shopping, whatever China got, can we get it locally? I mean, yeah, it was cheaper, but that's not the case now. And so overall, these people, United States needs to start, having more of the things that we import. They need to start being made here domestically. But until then, work with what we got. It's here. It might cost a little more, but now when you compare the prices, you might be, not as convenient, but you might get a better deal. Um, Save your money, you guys. If you can go out and buy Starbucks, if you can go to run into a fast food restaurant, if you can go out and eat, if you can buy bottles, think about the amount of money you spend and match that. I'm not saying don't do that. Do you, boo? But match that. If you're gonna spend $50 on a bottle, put $50 in savings. That means you can never touch it. It's there for hard times. And hard times is when shit hits the fan. And hopefully that won't happen, but you never touch that. Just like when you pay your electric bill, you can't go back and say, you know what, I need that $120 back. It's the same thing to yourself. Pay yourself. You put that $50 in and don't come back and say, you know what, I need that $50 back. No, that $50 is spent. It's spent on you and it's in a savings. So again, match yourself. If you're out there buying luxury things, match it. If you can't match it, then you shouldn't be buying luxury items. I'm just going to put it like that. Sidebar, I know I talked about there was a report that braids, adding synthetic hair can cause cancer. There's a website you can go to, Braid Better Hair Extensions, and they make natural hair made from banana fiber. Braid Better Hair Extensions. I'm sure there's many others, but that's just one that I had on my list. Get a passport. Just get a passport. I forget how much it costs. I do have one, but just have it. It's important. We have these real IDs now that helps us, but you need that passport. Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready. If you stay ready, you know what I'm talking about? You ain't got to get ready, okay? And learn how to operate a gun safely and have them for your protection. You may need a few different types, like a shotgun. Growing up, we went to my grandparents' house. They had shotguns. They kept them stored under the bed. None of us touched them. We would come look under the bed. You see the granddaddy's guns, but he used it for hunting, and I'm sure to protect the house. I even heard the stories of my granny where she would feed the hobos. So they would get off the train, and she would have biscuits and preserves ready for them. And she would stand there. My TC Jean tells a story that she would let them in the house, and she would stand there with her shotgun and allow them to eat. This is all in West Las Vegas. I come from a wealth of historic fine women and men. But yeah, she was standing with her shotgun. A shotgun is very easy to use. And again, it's for your protection. And you don't know what life is going to come, what's going to happen in the future. You got to know how to hunt. And shout out to, I got a brother that he's definitely big on guns, teaches his young daughter. I mean, I think she's under the age of 12. I'm sure she knows how to operate a gun. His wife knows how to operate a gun. They're big advocates of gun. But I like the fact that many of the women in my family in particular, know how to operate a weapon. It's very important. We're not violent people, but we have to be able to protect ourselves, and we may need to hunt and eat. And so that's just the world we live in. Okay. So we just got to stay ready. So we ain't got to get ready, and we got to protect ourselves. We got to do more than watch, pray, read your Bible, and shake hands with somebody and tell them you love them. You also got to get out there and get in them streets, and get on them phones and do what you got to do. But yeah, so yeah, okay, that's it, y'all. I'm about to have a very fun night. I'm celebrating the 30th anniversary of the album Illmatic. with yours truly, Najir Jones. Yeah, with a live orchestra. So I am very excited, and I'm looking forward to it. But for you all, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being here with me on In Your Ear Radio live. And I think I'll be back next week. I'm looking forward to it. But in the interim, if you can't be good at it, if you can't be good, at least be good at it. Okay? Damn. All right. And let me just go ahead and give my thanks to all of you who watched live, who interacted with me in the chat right now. Listen, I love y'all, and I hope that you have a fantastic day. God bless.